Mullen Automotives, is this the next GameStop? Is this something that you should buy? Can we short squeeze? How high will we go? That's what I want to talk about here in this video, because all of those could potentially be true. I have a position in Mullen Automotives that I will also show you guys towards the end of this video, but we need to get into the important stuff first. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all of that good stuff. The more of you guys that do that, the more we can cover Mullen Automotives here on this channel, as well as other stocks that I think have a lot of potential. So thank you guys that went ahead and did that, and also get yourself free stocks, links down below in the description. Sign up, get those free stocks, sell them, buy Mullen. It might be a good opportunity, it might not be. You'll have better clarification by the end of this video. So getting straight into it, guys. Mullen Automotives is something that I picked up a while back. I say a while back, but it was really like 2 weeks ago, before anybody was talking about this. Shout out to Super Show on the live streams. He actually did point this out, and I said, hey, this looks like a good fundamental opportunity, because at the time there was only about a 2% short interest, which I thought was pretty interesting, but it looked good on a risk to reward ratio. This stock does not have a high market cap, only about a $20 million market cap when I bought it. Now it's around that $50 million market cap range, but for an EV company, it's definitely on the small side. And we made a video really going over the fundamental case for Mullen, so go check that out if you guys have not already. They have one price target of $23 per share, which is kind of insane nonetheless, but if that were to happen, we'd all make a lot of money. But let's get into some of the actual data, and then let's simply talk about Mullen. So as far as the Ortex short interest, it's really a joke. It's really a joke, so you can't go off of this. It says 2.62% short interest. Just the other day, it was at 29% short interest estimate, and that's what it was at on Friday, around those numbers. And the exchange reported short interest that came out February 28th was at almost 10%. I think Ortex is having a glitch here, and they say 2.62%, but like I said, this thing is in the 20, 30 or higher percent short interest range. But how is this actually similar to GameStop? Well, this is similar to GameStop because it has a very low float. So Mullen Automotives only has about 34 million shares that trade hands on any given day. That is very small. Some companies have billions of shares that trade hands. So this thing does have the potential to move big. And just for reference here, if Mullen Automotives went to a $1 billion market cap, that would put their share price around that $40 price. So even if it did half of that, if it went to 500 million, you'd be looking at a $20-ish share price. And that's just goes to show how explosive this could possibly be. Will that happen? Well, I want to talk about that in just 1 second. We have 4.05 million shares that are sold short currently, as far as Ortex estimates, which I quite frankly don't believe anything Ortex is saying. As far as Mullen Automotives is concerned, the cost to borrow max is 16.16%, and the utilization is 93.93%, with the days to cover of 0.21, because obviously this thing has seen the volume just skyrocket, as well as the short interest that has went through the roof. And that's exactly what happens. When retail starts to talk about a stock, that's when institutional investors come in and start to short that stock, thus putting them in these bad situations, which they are doing right now. And it's also noteworthy to point out that the markets are down quite substantial today. The S&P down about 1%, the Nasdaq down 2%, the Russell 2000 down 2.22%, and Mullen is up 35%. So it's definitely a solid day on that front as well. As far as will this thing short squeeze, I think that's the $1 million question, quite literally. I think it's very possible, and if we keep up the buying power and people keep buying into the stock, it certainly can, and it probably would. Now, is this a good time to buy the stock? That's a more interesting question, because when I got into this at 70 cents per share, I'm up 158% right now. And if you guys want access to all of my trades, link down below in the pinned comment to do so for that. But the risk to reward at 70 cents was either, hey, I put 350 into it, I'm going to lose basically all my 350, it's going to go to zero, or it's going to do very well. Now it's a little bit different, because if you wanted to get my same position, it's going to cost you $900. So your worst case scenario is probably around this 70-cent range. I think that's what really the worst case scenario would be. So you could lose about, what, 500 bucks? You could lose about that much. That's your worst case scenario. But what's your potential best case scenario? Well, if this thing 10x'd, it would go to what? $18 per share. Your $1,000 would make $10,000. You'd make $9,000 profit. That's pretty good. And that's certainly possible, especially they do have a huge catalyst coming. They are starting to deliver their first EV cargo fleet in the second quarter of 2022. There was no specific date on that, but that's what Mullen Automotives actually said on their Twitter, and I can go ahead and pull this up for you guys because I've been paying attention to their Twitter and what they have been saying. And obviously the battery technology, 600 plus miles of range as well, that has a lot of people excited. But it does say, where is it at? Yeah, shareholder update. Mullen is on track to meet 2022 operational goals and anticipates the delivery of the first EV cargo fleet vehicles in Q2 2022. The company is unaware of any business reason for the current decline of Mullen's stock price. That was when the stock was just going down through the floor. And from what I can tell from the research that I've done, they have not issued any more shares. So this share price decline was simply due to the markets really freaking out. And Mullen used to be at $15 per share. Now, I think in a short squeeze here, the stock could probably go to 10 pretty easily. That would put that market cap, $350 to $450 million range. And even for an EV company, that is still super cheap. Even if this company only produces, like my estimates, of 80,000 vehicles possibly in the next 2 to 3 years, that's still going to be very, very cheap for this company. You're basically getting it still at the bottom of the barrels. So if you're looking at this as more of a fundamental trade, I think right now is still a no-brainer to get in. If you have a time frame set for yourself, like, hey, I need to see the short squeeze in 2 weeks or 4 weeks, then you're going to sell out or take your profits. Then that's a little bit different here, because you could lose money, and you could lose money either way this thing goes. I'm not a financial advisor here, but I think in the long term, as a fundamental trade, you do have a business here that looks really good from my personal perspective. Looks like they have a great product. They are an American-based company, which is very important as far as I'm concerned. And now you are seeing a lot of hype around the stock, which is definitely a good thing. So should you buy this? It depends. Like I said, if you're in this for just a 2-week time frame or something small, probably not. But if you're willing to put your money in this and let it sit for a couple months, no matter how long it takes, short squeeze or fundamental trade, you will do well. But if you're trying to time this down to the exact day, I don't think that is the right way to trade this, because you might sell out one day and then the stock goes up 200% the next day. And that's the last thing that I want to do to your guys' psyche, or say, just not a good situation. Nonetheless, not a good situation. The actual technical picture here looks really good. As you can see from the Bollinger Bands, we were seeing a lot of resistance around the 20-day simple moving average ever since around November, and every single time we approached that, we got rejected, up until really last week, where you did see a lot of support around this 20-day simple moving average. Now we are above that quite substantially, and this 20-day moving average will certainly start to go up as the price of the stock has went up. But it looks like you have a lot of support right here, and we're not even really breaking out above these levels that we just seen back here on February 28th, when the stock price did hit a high of almost $2 per share. I know you did early in pre-market today, but you're seeing that momentum continue. You're not seeing the stock just, starting high, going going down and continuing to fall through the floor throughout the day. You're actually seeing the momentum picking up as we do get closer to the end of the day here. So I can't draw any definitive conclusions for you guys. I can say the risk to reward profile looks pretty damn good in my personal opinion, at the very least. Take that for what it is. The Ortex data is not giving us an accurate short interest reading, so it's really hard to say by those measures, but take into consideration this, right? The shorted shares February 28th was 1.93 million and the short interest was 10%. Now we are estimated 4 million shares that are sold short. So you'd be looking at over a 30% short interest at the very minimum. So is this the next GameStop? It certainly could be. Should you look at it like that? Maybe, but I would be very cautiously optimistic when it comes to Mullen. And as far as would you buy it, would I buy it right now? I definitely would buy it right now, but I would have that long-term outlook to go with it. The RSI is only at 53.78, so we're not even at those overbought levels, and we're starting to see a lot of volume coming into the stock right now. It's starting to move around a lot. So hopefully this video reaches you guys in the right time frame. The MACD is also definitely on the bullish side ever since this first rally back here, February 28th. We have remained in bullish territory, and it looks like if we were going to see a short squeeze, it's probably going to happen here pretty shortly, in my personal opinion, over the next couple of days. And especially if we do see a market rally, maybe tomorrow or on Wednesday after the Fed meeting, then that certainly could cause the stock to go up as well. It does seem like, when you do get these little bounces in the market sporadically, you will see the price of Mullen actually react to that and go up even more. So that's kind of acting as a wind to our back. As far as the 50-day moving average, that is at $2.54 per share. If we do see a gap up, it'll likely be to those levels. The 100-day moving average is at $5.38 per share, and the 200-day moving average is at $7.90 per share. That's why I think if we do short squeeze, we could go as high as $10, possibly higher than that. I want to be conservative here because I don't want people's expectations to go too crazy, but from what I can tell, it looks really good. It looks like the short interest is well in that 30 to 40% range, and especially with a small float like this, you could do some real damage in a very short amount of time. So long story short, is this the next GameStop? I certainly hope so. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so we can make more videos just like this one. If you want to help support the channel as well, free stocks links down below in the description, as well as come join the trading community. You would have been on Mullen before anybody else. So definitely check that out if you guys have not already. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.